Hey, how you doing, Mark?
Doing good. I feel like that song was just starting to get going. I was waiting
It's
for it to.
we're actually it's not over because I forgot something. So hey, Mark, how you doing, my friend?
Doing good. It's crazy. That's part of the song. That's actually in the original music video. It's
Duck,
crazy.
duck,
The changelog, the intro. Never mind. Bad joke.
part of
I,
the
I'm
song.
I'm doing good. Although I just like this whole time I've been watching. I've been chilling out, hanging out, watching, and the animals, my cat and dog have been sleeping. And now that we're starting, they're both here. They're both like
Waking up. They're
they're
waking
they're
up.
ready. They're
They're
ready
ready.
to walk in front and poke me.
Okay.
Attack. To
Okay.
attack.
To attack. Yeah.
Awesome. We would like to see that.
Yeah, they'll do it. At least the cat will for sure. He's right here.
So let's go to the changelog, Mark.
Let's do it.
What's are you excited today about the changelog?
Yeah, I think it's because there was a gap. There is more. Although something I'm noticing is that I think we're feature wise, like not that many crazy features, which is good. But it's usually my first pass when I look over things. I look at the features first because usually that's like the cool thing.
Yep.
The cool thing is features. But not as many of those, and that's a good thing. It means we're working on stability. But sometimes, like then I look at fixes that are fixing gaps, which is not. I guess it's a feature, but it's like, oh, that was supposed to work, basically.
Yeah.
It's a feature.
Which
At one point we call them the big holes in the boat.
yeah, that's the holes
no
in the
matter where
big
you're
holes
trying
in
to
the boat.
go, you're gonna drown with those big holes. I want to build this.
So-
No, you're not.
So there's a couple of those that you could call them features, but they were supposed to. We just kind of thought they might work. They didn't.
Yeah.
But first off, let's start with a couple breaking changes. If you haven't, the breaking changes song.
Exactly.
So first up is some changes from Alad to change the contract of the handler that we have for both Cloud Function and like the different API handlers, like the actual in-flight code that runs. Previously, they had the return type was required, and the argument for Cloud Function was also a required string. And this like worked functionally, but the ergonomics of it weren't. I mean, they kind of got in the way a lot, and it didn't get in the way in a way that it didn't feel useful. Like it didn't feel like a useful behavior. So you can see here now these examples will work, and you won't get any sort of type error about them not returning anything, and it will be handled fine. It's also worth noting for Cloud API, you can also return only a body or only a status code, and we have some like reasonable default values for those to handle them. Alad, you're here, so you can also whenever someone's here that worked on something, you can say, "Do you want anything to say about it?"
Can I say something? Can I say before you say?
Yeah, of course.
I'm particularly intrigued about this one because we have done a bunch of stuff that this is something that I wouldn't do as a designer, as an API designer, and it's always interesting. The places when I wouldn't go that well, and then I see the results. Sometimes I like it more, and I like it less. And but there's and we talked about this. There's specific occasions when I really like it best. I mean, I understand. It takes me some time to understand, and I'm wondering about this thing. It's going to be interesting. I don't have an opinion about this yet, and I'm looking forward to having an opinion about this.
Okay.
This is
I'm
intrigued.
let me
about
know.
This. Yeah. No, I usually don't. I usually keep this to myself. I'm not complaining about stuff that I don't like.
Yeah, I think for me the guiding principle here is sensible defaults. I'm like very into sensible defaults, and so if there's a way for me to have a default for something, optionals are basically the same as defaults. And so if there's any way to like actually have a default behavior or value for something that is like sensible, that it will work for like a good
Interesting.
percentage of the use cases,
Interesting.
then it's usually
Yeah.
where I'm trying to go. And I think like the Cloud API example, I think it's pretty.
Yeah, I think it's gonna work for you this time. I think I'm gonna end up liking this a lot, but I don't know yet. I have to use it. I have to.
Yeah. Feel it.
I know because like the code, most of the code I've like Wing code I've written often, like I've used Cloud Function probably more than any other resource. And one thing that always annoyed me was like, I just want to run some code.
Yep. No, that's an easy one.
So previously, I would have to just like return a dummy value here.
Yeah, it's mostly about the API. This one is easy. This one makes a lot of sense.
Okay,
The Cloud API.
The Cloud API one is the one. The fact that we're returning a default status, okay, because I really encoded it an if let something and then return 200, and then I didn't do anything there wasn't an else.
Right.
And I said, oh, actually, this should be a 500, and I haven't tested this. So
Yeah.
So I said, this is where I don't like it.
Mm-hmm. It's because we don't have let else. You want your primary branch to be the success branch.
I mean,
right?
there wasn't a lot
to happy flow.
There wasn't a lot. I mean, you could kiss the function was so simple. I didn't care if it's going to be like that or this.
No, of course I understand. But
I think your point is that it's too easy. It's easy to express the wrong thing. Maybe
I don't know.
That might be the problem.
I don't know. It might be the problem. Exactly. That's what I'm intrigued about.
Especially until we have let else, which will encourage never nesting. Right? It will encourage keeping the happy flow, the main. Right? Like that's a stylistic.
Again, in my case, it just would be more code to do to keep the happy flow. It's because there was just one function. Anyhow. Awesome. Great.
The other by the way, the other thing I want to figure out for Cloud API is being able to throw status codes, throw errors that will turn into status codes. For example, when you're trying to parse a JSON of a struct, I want parsing error to become 400, right? Like it's supposed to be 400. The default status code should be 400 bad request. And currently, because our errors are strings, which I kind of like, right? Like I feel like that's actually good. That's a pretty good thing. So that's where
you could just do 500. And if there is a status code in the exception, I mean,
you mean if the exception starts with a number, then
no, well, it can be a JSON. I mean, if it's a JSON with a status code, okay.
So I mean, our exceptions don't support JSON right now.
Oh, really? Our exception? You can.
But they can support JSON.
Yeah, I can do a JSON string. They can support everything. I mean,
without any more work, anything we do here would be convention based. So
exactly.
Like, and I think what Lad's saying is something more intrinsic, or even I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. So maybe that's a good. Maybe just.
It's easy to make it a convention.
400. And if it starts with a number and column, then it becomes like the status code.
Wow,
that's cool. Contributions welcome.
Contributions welcome. Okay.
All right, I'll move on to the next one. Another breaking change for us. So new syntax for creating sets, and from when I was reviewing this change, I was like, okay, let me go make sure that we don't have any wing libs. If we need to update any wing libs that are using the old syntax, not a single usage of the set syntax. No. So it's kind of like, to me, I'm a big fan of this. I like there are a lot of languages nowadays that kind of try to constrain how, like, what does it mean to create a thing? Like, what is the syntax for creating an object, a literal? And I appreciate that, if we maybe, not having it, we don't like, are you creating sets so often that it needs to be its own special thing?
Yeah, exactly.
If we didn't have any problems with the syntax, I maybe it would even be okay to leave in, but it was actually causing problems with ambiguity in the, it's like, it was ambiguity mostly for the parser, but even, as a user, it's just, when I see an opening brace, I have assumptions coming up. So now this is the new syntax.
Yeah. It's funny because the unique feature of a set is basically making sure that things would not be kind of duplicated, right? And when I'm creating a new, when creating a new thing, I seldomly care about that feature. I would just create array where I can do more things with array. I can numerate. I know the order. That's a weird thing to start to kind of create, but I understand the need. And I think that was is it the first time we've seen Ignacio? I'm not sure. I've seen him.
We've seen him before, and he actually has a couple others that I don't like to double dip with people too often if I can help it with people. But this isn't his first contribution, although he has some other great ones that were also part of this like changelog, including entries map.in, like getting the entries from a map.
I've used this.
Adding this API.
Yeah,
but he previously made a change. I think I put his name different because his name in GitHub isn't his name, so I didn't. It was like TXX Nano or something.
Oh, yeah. So I know.
So he has a previous contribution as well.
Awesome. Yeah. Makes sense.
I know he's been doing great work. There's even another one that I don't know what it is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And that's it for breaking changes. But let's go to our guy Chris. So I was trying to think about how to title this one. I went with mutually referential. So having type declarations that can refer to one another, within them, which ends up making it's like the type is recursive, but we actually support that. That's not like we've always supported that. You can like if you imported the JSI library, like we supported this internally, but you didn't have a way of declaring it because our like the language couldn't handle it, like the compiler couldn't handle it. Now it can.
Okay.
Couldn't handle the definition of it, right? Like not the it could model it internally, but it couldn't handle like the it was type checking the
the declaration would fail because it did what is it, like a breadth first basically.
Okay.
And it wasn't doing anything special. It was just breadth first, and it would go and it would miss. It would be like, oh, what is like in this line? It would be like, what is this? I don't know what this is because I haven't gotten there yet. Yes. This extends, I mentioned here, that you can also like, you can think of it as like hoisting declarations, although I'm not sure, I don't think that's the correct way to say it, but you could think of it that way for this example, that it's like kind of bringing everything up immediately and you can see it all.
Interesting.
All the types.
Like forward declarations, basically.
Yeah, and it should say it's explicitly for things that are own like types. So classes are a different case.
Oh, classes are different? I can't reference a class.
Because classes have the weird trait where they're not just types. They have like functionality associated with them. They have static methods are like calling a static method before a class is declared has some issues. I mean, it's a problem in JavaScript, I think, too.
Really?
Actually. It's not like, I think it lets you do it, but it has some weird behaviors, I believe is the thing.
It used to be, I remember this as a problem in Java with static initialization. When was that happen? When you can have dependencies, but I didn't know we have that issue. Interesting.
I mean, Chris, the thing, I think he describes it in the PR. But yeah, I mean, for the use cases, this came up because it was actually like, it was not erroring. So like you would actually do this and it would be like a weird hidden error, so it was even worse than just not working. It was like
interesting,
kind of weird, like there was something weird going on. So but now it works, and it's a useful way to useful.
Thank Chris. Good job.
Yay, Chris. All right, moving on. So from Mir, I believe that's it, right? Mayor. That's okay.
Yeah.
So the bang operator. This is I was struggling to describe it because I worry about using the word unwrap for what our nils are, but however you want to think about it, it's also very similar to the TypeScript's bang operator for like asserting you have a value, and you're like this value, it could be something or it could be nil, and you're just like, you know what, just forget about it. It's not nil. If you yell loud enough with the exclamation mark, the compiler just forgets that there could be nothing there, and it treats this as if it were.
I don't. That's not what it's doing. It'll fail.
Will throw an exception.
It'll throw an exception.
I meant from a type system perspective. You're right. At a runtime, it will fail.
It'll throw an exception, right? Like it won't treat it as undefined. Like if it's undefined, the error that you'll get is not. that you can't find name
Well,
and define.
in TypeScript, is this operator just gets erased, or does it?
Yes.
Oh, it just gets erased.
Yeah, it's not doing a runtime check.
Oh, because it wraps around this. It wraps
Yeah.
around this to add like
So I didn't know
the
in
handling.
TypeScript the bang operator is just erased. Mark, is that the case?
I mean I'm pretty sure I can't imagine it would do anything.
Yep.
Yeah, because TypeScript doesn't have any runtime presence.
Okay.
Right?
Doesn't have any runtime presence at all. Okay,
Yes.
I did. That makes sense. Awesome. Nice. Interesting.
Okay, yeah. So then I forgot about that. So it will handle. I mean, it's still it's a runtime failure, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
pretty much the same,
it's not.
It's
Like-
guaranteed to throw an exception. If you just do log person bang operator in TypeScript, it will just show undefined.
Exactly.
Well, because it's failing here. I guess is the point. It fails
Yeah,
here.
Exactly.
It's not failing because of this.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
failing because the operator itself is doing something that is failing.
Yep. Awesome.
That's a fair way to put it.
Awesome. Thanks, Mayor. This is good. This is going to make
someone very happy.
a lot of us very happy all the time.
A lot of us very happy all the time.
A lot of us. I mean, because I'm doing a lot of demos, I don't care about what happens if my API I don't care about that. I mean, I just put for demos for myself. It's going to be easier.
Hey, well, keep it safe though. You know, that's don't go too crazy because I mean, yes, it fails, correctly,
My
but
demos, Mark. I don't need to keep it safe in my demos. I'm living on the edge on the demos.
that's fair. I sorry, got distracted. Anyway, so that's that for thank you, Mayor, for that.
Yeah, great job. Man. Thank you. Okay.
So next up, this is when I was talking beginning about an example of something that is.
Yeah.
This isn't a feature,
No.
but it didn't work before, and that was sad.
Yeah.
This is
So I'm thinking now I probably should have shown a more quintessential example, but the core premise is that what you could do before is you could do this. You could make an array of closures, and that's fine. It worked it worked from the compiler's perspective. You could compile it, and then you could call those closures. That worked, but what it didn't do was ensure that the lifting, the mechanism that happens to make sure that the buckets that you reference here and like the operations you reference are able to be accessed by this function. Like if you had written b1.put and b2.put here, it would have been fine, but you didn't write that. You wrote this more reference to this array of closures. So this now works. This is a pretty huge thing in terms of how like APIs can, like how classes can work and APIs can work here. I mean API in the more general sense that like I think a common pattern was like storing like event handlers as like an array. So you store your list of like on whatever is as a list of in-flights. Now you can actually trigger them and get the correct permissions on those triggers when you're triggering the functions.
Interesting.
So-
Interesting in this case.
Pretty huge improvement.
Subscribing to events.
Yeah, makes sense.
Exactly.
Thanks you all for doing this.
Yeah, and I think this example specifically is showing a workaround, right? I think it might be worth mentioning the fact that in-flight closures, the compilers there are situations that the compiler cannot infer the
if it's known as part of pre-flight. I mean, if the compiler can resolve this, I mean, during pre-flight, then I mean, it doesn't do any static code analysis, but it runs the pre-flight code. That's I think the main difference between whether the compiler is going to know about b.1 in this new cloud function versus not. Is that correct?
no.
Are you saying this is a workaround? I'm not clear.
No.
Not a workaround, but it's still. I mean,
It's basically a special case of the situation where the compiler needs to infer the qualification of the lift, right? So if I have an array of buckets, for example, and I try to do for b in buckets b.put
inside the in-flight function.
inside an in-flight function, it won't work because the compiler can't infer the lift on the buckets. And in closures, you can basically say there's only one operation you can do in a closure, which is to call it. And
Yeah.
so that's how basically you have fixed it. It's basically says if you're passing an array of closures, then I know the lifting qualification because it's going to be calling these closures, right? Like there's only one operation. And so if there's one operation, we just lift this one operation, right? There's no...
Interesting. Wow.
That. Anyway.
I didn't understand that. Interesting.
You should say you didn't understand that.
To be honest.
That's cool. I don't know what you just said.
No, sorry. What I said, I didn't understand this before, although I'm not sure I completely understand this right now. I'm going to ask more about this. But, yeah.
Well, yeah, just, I mean, this example works out when it didn't before. That's one thing to say.
Yeah.
And I think there's more. There's like, this was kind of a, I've been constantly working on improving. He's been doing a lot of great work on improving overall lifting mechanisms and in-flight. So it's, if that's something you've like to the viewer, if it's something you've struggled with a long time ago, like running into some weird edge cases, worth seeing what's improved in that area. I think.
Yeah.
It's gone over some good work, and we're still working on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. I personally am not. I would, but I would love to, and I love seeing what Yoav does. As well.
Yeah. The lifting mechanism is the mechanism where we take an instance from pre-flight and use it in an in-flight method. Kind of use the client, and in fact, in a way, in Wing, the novelty is the in-flight, kind of the two phases of execution, and the lifting mechanism is taking stuff from one phase of execution and passing it to the other one. Mm-hmm. The API changes, but there's something remains, and it's complex.
Whenever I talk here, I assume anyone listening is like they're already in the know.
In the know.
Because like we have a few viewers, and I'm assuming they're the same viewers every time.
No,
you guys have heard us say in-flight, right?
We have a few viewers here, but there's
50
people watching this after. I'm not sure whether they know or not. I don't know.
That's true.
And lifting mechanism is something that I think it's worth mentioning over and over and re-explaining it a lot.
Maybe we should do like a little video that explains lifting, and you can like pull it up every time
I mean, it's true. We say in-flight a lot more. Lifting is a terminology has grown in usage over time, and like bringing it to the user's face more, like saying lifting. I think we're going to keep saying it a lot. So yeah, we can maybe get that video prepared. Play it like the changelog intro every few minutes. All right, let's go on to the next one. So, from a first-time contributor, Christopher, added a new function to our file system, our FS module, to append file. So we had write file and various other ones, but now if you want to write to a file but not like you want to add on to the end of it, you can do that.
Yeah.
Just a lovely missing API that got added. Very much appreciated.
Yeah. Awesome. Great work. Thank you, Christopher. This is good. This is good stuff.
Next up from Hassan, I feel like I won't do this one justice in terms of how much like stuff it can this kind of lets us do. But I'll try a little bit. So platform parameters. We got our platform master is on to implementing this, our master of platforms, and it's basically a way to provide settings, configuration data from outside either the CLI or a config file that's been added, wing.toml, and have it provide values at the platform here being either TF-AWS or AWS CDK or a custom platform. The ability it can read these values and then change its behavior based on that. And it's going to be like a strong contract, saying what's the type of the value, what's the is it required or not, default values, all that type of stuff. It's a strong contract, and you can do things like in this example, kind of our signature example for this is the dealing with VPCs, and I didn't put the subnet IDs, but you can basically configure things about your networking now with TF-AWS target. I don't know if it's only that target. I think it is, but anyway, you can configure things about that, and it's able to understand and be like, okay, well, you want a new VPC and you want to make sure your lambdas are always created in a VPC. That's kind of it's but we have a default behavior for that. But if you want to set up that set that behavior to be something else, you can change this config file and add to it, and boom, there you go.
Mark, is it a dot or a dash in the?
Oof, it's a dash. My bad.
It's a dash. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
it's a
Thank
dash.
God, man. Okay. So Hassan, our master of platform. Did I do platform? Okay. Forms.
Yeah, I wrote it with the dash here and then not here. Yes, it is
Okay.
Although interesting thought
Okay.
about this, Terraform is technically kind of the real platform when you think about it.
I understand the idea, but
Not intentional.
I'm not using a dash somewhere else. I'm using a dash somewhere else, so it has to be.
No, it's
yeah.
like the name of the platform. Like we have a concept called platform name.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the name of that platform.
Yeah.
So forgive my typo there, but yeah.
But thank you. This is awesome.
Yeah,
This was
and the way I see it is basically it's like input parameters that go to the platform, right? Like basically it's the API of the platform provider,
Mm-hmm.
and
it's
like the sky's the limit to what this can do, right? Like eventually it could be anything, and it's like platform specific. So this is like AWS. It's about VPCs and lambdas, and GCP or Azure or whatever platform
interesting.
could have completely different APIs. They don't have to be compatible.
Yeah.
Right? That's not
That could be
that's
a place.
below the abstraction.
There's a lot of ways to solve this problem, but this would be a good place for putting the web. If you want a specific port for your web page to run locally, simulator and then local port. That could be if you want to be. I mean, if you have other children, that's a good place. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Strongly enforced with JSON schemas.
Awesome. Great.
Do you know why he was using JSON schemas?
Because it structs?
Yes.
Okay, makes sense.
Yes.
Awesome.
The idea is that you'd be able to basically write platforms in Wing, and then your platform API is just going to be the props.
Yep.
The struct props.
Makes a lot of sense.
And it'll automatically.
Makes a lot of sense. Awesome.
Give me Progen vibes.
Exactly.
As well, with how the Progen project properties work.
Exactly.
We did it better.
Awesome.
Okay. So thank you for that. And last up.
Oh, you changed it. Nice, man. Oh,
so yeah, I fixed the thing. So okay, I was like, how do we even talk? So so the whole console team been working a lot on both like I call them console team, but they work on also Wing Cloud as the service. But I was looking through the commits and I was like, there's like a billion commits from Christian with going through like some of the design changes here with the console. So I didn't put a name. I mean the whole team has been working on it, but I think I frequently in the last couple of weeks I would wake up and see like 4 changes, all console changes, iterating on some design stuff here. So I think that, I mean, if you've used the console, also the playground, which has the console in it, or it is the console. No, it has the console in it. That's a better way to say it. If you use it before, you probably notice several of the differences. I probably will forget some, but the dotted background is one. The design of the nodes themselves has changed. Different shadows and what gets highlighted and what gets faded. Like basically, it's pretty over the last since the last changelog there's been so many changes that it looks completely different almost. I also didn't show up, but there's the dragging is now like you hold space and then you click and drag, which I like. I'm into that. Yeah, and I'm even just today I missed it because I started this before and also show the next one. But Bring UI.
Wow! I saw it was pushed.
I didn't include it because it was like, save it for next time. Save the tasty treat for that.
Very tasty.
Just so the design here, but yeah, Bring UI. I haven't tried it, but I saw the PR merge to get Bring UI working.
Yeah, I've seen it also. But these changes of Christian, this is just.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. I like it in light mode as well. This is just awesome.
I agree.
Yeah.
A side by side would have been a good idea.
Yeah.
By the way, I did not do that.
Always a good idea.
Yeah.
It's always a good idea. Yeah. It's Oops. That's
No,
my
it's
typo
great.
for this page. Is not doing that.
Beautiful.
Just know it's real tasty now. Looking real
Yep.
good. And that's all.
That's all.
For the
my friend.
changelog.
Wow. Yep. So side by side views request by Nathan and by Hassan. I mean,
All right,
it's,
listen. I get it. I did do the
yeah.
side by side. I get it.
we were hearing a lot of
You're
voices.
killing me.
A
You're
lot of
killing
voices.
me.
Different voices.
Different.
Great.
This is
Awesome.
fun.
This was fun. There's a lot of changes.
And there's lots of changes that are not here, right? Like I feel like
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there were 103.
Yeah.
103 commits.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do 103 commits on this show. So I did like 7 or something. I don't know how many it was. But so many great changes.
Awesome. Well, guys, it's been a pretty long show. I kind of feel like
someone.
yeah, I feel like I should have been more time accurate, but I had fun. That's what happened, and it was super interesting for me.
Have we ever finished a show early? That happened?
Not early, but not 20 minutes. 20 minutes long
Okay.
is different.
That's a long time.
Not early. And thank you, Mark, for this dedicated work and great presentation of what has changed. And,
Great presentation.
Great presentation of what has changed. This is that
Except
was
no
my
side by side.
That was
No
my
side by
work
side though.
Side by side. Yeah, maybe we
And
can
the
see
dot. And the dot.
Yes.
Oh my god. I
Shame,
gotta get out of here.
shame. And I want to thank you, Elad and Ellen, and for the viewers.
See you in 2
I'll
weeks.
see you in 2 weeks. Let's say goodbye with small town